we are now fit to understand some of the important applications of market mechanism that we studied so far. Just recall the process of price and quantity determination in a free market. In a free market, price that clears the market, making quantity demanded for a product equal to its quantity supplied, is called equilibrium price, which is OP1 in the figure, and equilibrium quantity is OQ1. Now we shall see the effects of change in demand and change in supply on equilibrium price and quantity. We are starting with the effects of change in demand on equilibrium price and quantity. We are familiar with the term change in demand. At a given price, if there is a change in quantity demanded due to the change in other determinants of demand like income of the consumer, prices of substitute and complementary goods, it is called change in demand. And due to the change in demand, our demand curve shifts to the right or to the left. Change in demand can be of two types. Increase in demand, when demand rises due to the change in other factors remaining the price fixed. Manner of change in some of the factors are rise in income, rise in prices of substitute goods, fall in prices of complementary goods, etc. While there is an increase in demand, demand curve shifts to the right. And another type of change in demand is decrease in demand. When demand for a commodity falls due to the change in other determinants of demand at a given price, it is called decrease in demand. Manner of change in some other determinants of demand can be fall in income, fall in prices of substitute goods, rise in prices of complementary goods, etc. When there is a fall in demand, demand curve shifts to the left. Now, we are going to make a brief illustration to examine the effects of increase in demand and decrease in demand on price and quantity. Let us start with increase in demand. We know, given the price of a product, if other determinants of quantity demanded change in such a manner that quantity demanded for the product rises, it is called increase in demand. And in this case, demand curve of the product shifts to the right. Let us examine in figure. In figure, primary equilibrium point is E1. Equilibrium price is OP1 and equilibrium quantity is OQ1. If there is an increase in demand, demand curve shifts outward from D1 to D2. Now, if we carefully observe, we find that at P1 price, there is a shortage in the market by the amount E1M, as D1 is no longer a demand curve. It shifts to D2. Due to the shortage by the amount E1M, price tends to increase, and increase in price continues until the shortage disappears and we reach to a new equilibrium point E2, where market is clear with price OP2 and quantity OQ2. Thus, due to increase in demand, we move from E1 to E2. Equilibrium price rises from OP1 to OP2 and equilibrium quantity rises from OQ1 to OQ2. Therefore, we can conclude that an increase in demand leads the equilibrium price and quantity to rise. Now, we are going to discuss the effects of decrease in demand on equilibrium price and quantity of a product. Given the price of a product, if other determinants of demand change in such a manner that its quantity demanded falls, it is called decrease in demand. In this case, demand curve shifts to the left. In figure, primary equilibrium point is E1, where price is OP1 and quantity is OQ1. If there is a decrease in demand, demand curve shifts to the left from D1 to D3. Now, if we observe carefully, we find that at P1 price, there is a surplus by the amount E1N. Due to the surplus by the amount E1N, price tends to fall. And fall in price continues until the surplus abolishes and we move to a new equilibrium point E3, where market is clear at OP3 price and quantity is OQ3. Thus, if there is a decrease in demand, we move from E1 to E3. Price of the product falls from OP1 to OP3 and quantity falls from OQ1 to OQ3. Therefore, we can conclude that if there is a decrease in demand, both the equilibrium price and quantity falls.